And sit with me? Huh? Oop. Hello, people. Putting my socks on. Who are the people in your neighborhood? Hello, darlings. Are we live? Oh my goodness. You know why I'm late? I my sister and I got, I've been doing my whole birthday thing. Hello, everyone. It's just pleasant to see you all. How is everyone? Yes, good, good. Good, I hope so. Oh my goodness. So what is going on with me? That is the ultimate question that everybody, should be. I'm getting organized. We're having brunch. Mila is down there deciding what she wants to do when she grows up. You want to join us, Mila? Do you want to sit up here or do you want to sit down there? What's it going to be? What's it going to be? Huh? What's it going to be, Mila? Yeah? You going to come up here and say hi to everybody? Or are you still debating? You still debating? Okay, all right. So I guess we're doing American Forest today. Is that what you guys want to do? Or do you want to do senior dogs or feeding America? Why don't we do you guys like the Children's Defense Fund? We haven't done the Children's Defense Fund for a while. That's one of my favorite lobbying organizations. They fight for foster children's rights and children that are in the system. Okay, so that is the charity. Okay, fighting for children's rights for over 50 years. Miriam Adelson, Children's Defense Fund. We did run it last year and raised $120, so we'll just extend it today for the month of March in honor of my being a March baby. And if you also happen to be an Aries, happy birthday. I have been dusting and cleaning, did not take any allergy medicine, but my monster's out there looking at the world. Yes, there she is. Hi, Mila. Do you want to come up here? She has become so fat. My cat has become so fat. Look how fat she's become. my sister, my sister came to visit yesterday, right? And look at that angry tail. Oh my goodness, what you mad about? Hi. Hi. Yeah, and she noticed how fat the baby was. So the baby is fat. Thank you, everyone who's donating to the Children's Defense Fund. We have an anonymous donation already for $20, and John Gerald has donated $5 as well. Much appreciation to all of you. If you don't know what's going on right now, I haven't even had a chance to get dressed. I was about to put a sweater on, and then we went live. I washed my face. I made some coffee. Is anybody else having one of these days? March 5th, Aries or Pisces. It's Pisces. Yeah, so what's going on with me? What am I doing right now? We've got the cat situation taken care of. Hopefully, look, I got an allergy problem. But I swept. It's still filthy. The house is filthy, okay? but I did change the sheets. You know what I've been doing that I've been really enjoying? First off, hello everyone. If you haven't had a chance to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff as we slowly wind towards 100,000 subscribers. This is our brunch. It's pretty laid back and casual. And basically, we all get together from the four corners of the earth and we all have brunch together. And we talk about we do some remote viewings. I'll give you guys a collective reading for the week. The collectives have been pretty accurate in terms of just feeling like the stock market tanking, feeling that civil war would erupt, growing animosity towards this administration. And in fact, we're seeing a lot of what we anticipated with people taking to the streets. Really, Trump is not popular. And in fact, his popularity is tanking really, really quickly. A lot of people that had voted for him work for the government. And so I think it was just really shocking when they got fired. And then other people are being ordered to go back to work because vital services were cut. And, it's not even constitutional because these are not the people that it's not legislative. It's interesting. I just read that Elon Musk is going to be making billions off the cuts. So it's really not about saving America. It's about him stealing billions of dollars from the Treasury for his pet projects. So that's what's really going on. So we should be clear about that. Not that we don't have to take care of our deficit, but we do. And we could, just like AOC says, AOC and people like Bernie Sanders have already worked it out that you have a slight increase, slightly above where we were at before Reagan. And there's one other thing we have to do. And then we would be out of debt in like 10, 15 years. So the point is that we got here because rich people hid their money. And the way to get out is to hold them accountable and make sure that they pay their bills. That's all. We don't need to have the pirate from pirate from Penzance or whatever it's called come in and do a song and dance and pillage the U.S. Treasury in some drama performance because they themselves didn't want to pay their taxes, right? Anyway, so this is our get together. Feel free to ask questions. Like I said, we welcome from the four corners of the earth. 11 a.m. is a nice get together. It's a Sunday. That way we can get people all the way from Tel Aviv. And I think we have somebody who comes in from Safat. Is that right? Is that where you're from? Safat. I, of course, am moving to Beersheba, the land. I am moving to the desert. As many of you know, I am an Israeli American. I've decided that, and I've been planning to move out, probably outside the United States. And I couldn't figure out, and I finally made my decision that I would be moving back home, of course, home being Israel. And the place is Beersheba. Now that I've got your attention, let's talk. Let's talk a little bit about Beersheba. Anybody know anything about Beersheba? Where Beersheba is, what the significance of Beersheba is? I'll give you a hint. Mila and I are now in Beersheba. This is my home. You're seeing a snapshot of my home. Anybody, is this giving you guys any ideas of the significance of Oh, there's a car. You can see the car back there. Whimsy. What happened to Whimsy that she's, well, I'll have two homes. I'm going to probably keep the condo in Portland. My sister and I were talking about that. She, she doesn't like staying here. She doesn't like the because she said it's too loud. I had her staying here anyway, so I'm keeping the condo in Portland. And and then I'm buying and then I'm renting some cheap room or studio to start because I'll be back and forth between the United States and Israel, and that's the cheapest way to do it. And I'll probably be in Israel about 4 times a year to start, and then eventually I'll move. It's impossible. Look at Mila listening intently. I'm not going anywhere. This cat hates to travel. This cat hates travel. And so I can't take her with me. So it's going to be, it's not her home. Even though I don't know how to get her out there. She would be in heaven. I mean, the truth of the matter is she would love, look at that desert, and there's just mice all over the place. They've got these little desert mice that are about this tiny. They're tiny little things. I think she would be so damn happy out there because she'd be able to chase around in the Negev. That was why they were brought in, right? The Egyptians. They live out there. There's cats all over the place, and they live all in the Negev hunting. They live very healthfully because there's plenty of food. It's all those mice. Well, the mice come in because we grow a lot of crops, right? So the mice come in to eat the crops, and then the mice accelerated, and people got diseases like the bubonic plague, right? When 1/3 of the people died and they had to ship the bodies out into the water. But and then the cats came and saved the people, and the people of Egypt almost died. You know, the people of the Nile almost died. And then when the cats came in, they were brought in to save the grain from the rats. They succeeded in conquering the rats. And so they were lifted up as gods and worshipped for saving the people. Look at this. You can just see Mila becoming increasingly regal as she's hearing the story of the domesticated cat saving the people from plague and famine and whatnot. And so consequently, the people of the Middle East love their cats. And the most machismo men in the world love their cats in the Middle East. Does anybody know about this phenomenon? I just think it's really pretty funny. Because we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of years of being kept alive because of one species, right? So if an animal kept you and your family from dying from bubonic plague for centuries and kept you from starving to death, then eventually you would probably be really appreciative of that animal, wouldn't you? And you would develop intense tolerance. So that's exactly what you see in Egypt. So it's this idea that cats are from Allah, that cats are from God, that they are blessed by that, and it's because of what they have done for that part of the world. And so it's almost as if there's considered divine creatures. And you often see some of the architecture and artwork This is Sister Gucci. As you can see, she's quite modest. She's got her hair covered.
MashaAllah, Sister Gucci. I mean, Sister Minnie, because Gucci, they did not do sponsorship for me, so they are big cancellation. But wait, my sister, we have a new proposal. His name is Brother Badam. He is the Turkish one. Look at him, he's so much cute. He wears a thobe and he is not Islamophobe. Oh my God, so much.
So you'll see certain. I love watching cat videos, but one of the things I like is seeing how different cultures view certain animals. But I like this. I'm starting to cough because she's here. Oh, I love her, but she's setting me off. She's down here. I love the girl, but there she is. I see her. But I'm just allergic to my baby. How is everybody? Let's go ahead. We'll turn the camera around and say hi to everybody. Thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoy the beautiful background of Beersheba. This is the well of Abraham. Abraham was the first Jewish person to ever exist. He came from Ur or Ir, which is in Iraq. And there was a huge war going on. Ir got invaded. There was battles in the street. And being a relatively peaceful person who really didn't want trouble, he took his wife Sarai and his flock. He was semi-nomadic. By today's standards, you would call him a Bedouin. And he wasn't a farmer. He was a herdsman. And this is what we know about changing economics during this time. Some people were gatherers and hunters. Some people were able to earn a living as gatherers and hunters. Some were pastoralists, like Abraham. He was a pastoralist. And they had flocks, and they would move their flocks around to where there was good pasture. But unfortunately, wars would happen. Your animals would get stolen. So he wanted to just get out of Dodge. And so he went really, really far out. If you're looking at a map of the difference, if we were to just take a map for fun, let's do this for fun. And we were to look at the journey of, let's see, Babylon would be in Iraq, right? So we'll say Iraq. We'll take Baghdad, which is the place, right? And then he goes to Beersheba. Let me see. There we go. So we're talking about, by car, a 12-hour trek. So we're talking about a man who probably, if you're thinking about traveling with his sheep, this is the journey that this guy took. Look at how much desert he had to cross, just trying to get away from this war. If he had walked it, at a steady pace without a bunch of, just hiking, it's 266 miles to get to Beersheba. He could do it in 12 days, but more than likely with his family in tow, it took him a little under a month, right? So then he winds up in what is Beersheba. And now this is modern day Beersheba. What's interesting about Beersheba is that Beersheba is next to the Negev. And the Negev is where we have large populations of Bedouin living. Now, what's interesting also about Beersheba, about the Negev and Beersheba, I'll show you some beautiful pictures of my home here in Israel. Negev, Israel. We have a lot of land. We have a lot of land in this part of the world. And so we could take in more people, right? We could take in more people because we've got all this land, right? Look at how much land we've got that we could populate with kibbutzes, right? So that, say, every Palestinian wanted to come back and live on kibbutz, we could do that. If every Gazan wanted to come live on kibbutz, we could do that. We don't need to fight. And in fact, when we look at the history of Abraham from the Bible, that is precisely what he did. The first Jewish person, what he did was, which was so revolutionary, is he was trying to get away from war. And this is what I'm sitting behind is his water well. And so when he showed up and he got some water, he said, this looks like a nice tract of land. And there was a king that showed up. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. And the guy said, well, it's for sale. Do you want to buy it? And he said, yeah, how much? And they said, well, the well plus such and such areas for such and such amount. So he bought it. So that land is Israel today. And it was for his descendants. He bought it for his kids, right? So it's very surreal for me as a Jewish person to go to Beersheba, to go to the well and to know that's my grandfather's well and that this is my inherited, that I inherited this, that there's a place, a studio apartment waiting for me in Beersheba as one of grandpa's kids. But there's plenty of room for everybody else too. It doesn't have to just be Jewish people, right? So when you're talking about something like, how would we be able to do this, right? Like, how would we be able to get everybody to come home? All of Abraham's children need to come home, right? So when we think about that, what would that look like? And what I was thinking is that you could do kibbutzes, because a kibbutz is how most of us came home, right? So if we're talking about making it bloom again in the Negev, like the time, here's the subway system that they'll probably put in. Look at that, a subway that takes you out into the Negev. And look at all that land. So I wrote an article about it. I've written a couple of articles about it. The recent article I did, this is the one. I don't know if it's showing up here. Let me make sure that you guys are seeing it. Yeah, you are. This is the lottery I thought we could do. If you're a law-abiding citizen and you want a plot of land in the Negev on the kibbutz, isn't that a cute picture? Grok invented that. And I said, well, let's make like happy Palestinian Gazans, like winning a free acre in the Negev. I thought, yeah, you could have like a be welcome back, welcome home. Yeah, why does Zionism have to be people beating each other up? I mean, this is the original Zionism, right? The original Zionism was we dig a well and his kids live there and they grow olives. So what I'm arguing is, why not just go back to what our grandfather said and just, we're all from there, we're all his kids. Genetically, something like 70% of Palestinians have Jewish ancestry. So these folks are like direct descendants of Abraham, just like the rest of us. Like, hey, we're all related. Let's stop arguing about our grandfather's well, and let's just, if you're a law-abiding citizen that wants to live in the country and contribute something good to the common good, then welcome back, welcome home. Let's get to work. Let's grow some trees. So that's Oasis One, based on the original. I'm sorry, my cat's setting me off. I love you so. You know I love you. I love you. I love you so much. But can I get you to be somewhere where you're not going to set me off? All right, why don't you go over there? I love her so much, but she just does it to me. Yeah, so I thought we'd talk a little bit about this today. I'm sorry, I'm very allergic to my cat. Oh, she set me off. Excuse me just a second. Oh, I love you, girl. I love you, baby, but you're shedding so badly right now. Oh, oh, I love her so much, but oh, I love you, Mila, but I'm sorry, honey. You're just shedding way too much right now. Ah, oh, what was I going to say? It's not just her. It's a couple of things. I'm cleaning. It's getting better. Um, what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So it's interesting. I'm an anthropologist and I focus on medical anthropology, how to keep the tribe healthy. So when you think about Klal Yisrael, the children of Abraham were not healthy. Everybody's fighting over the well. Everybody's fighting over Jerusalem, which of course makes no sense because Jerusalem's not where the action's at. It's the Negev desert, but nobody realizes that. Don't you guys realize it was the Negev where the action is happening? The party is in the Negev, baby. The party is in the Negev. And you are missing it if you're in Jerusalem, baby, because I'm telling you, it's in the Negev. I am bringing the party to the Negev. But what's interesting from an anthropological perspective is that once he bought the land, then he could grow something, because prior to that, Abraham was a pastoralist. This is the kind of thing that anthropologists see, that we point out to rabbis, and then rabbis go, "Oh my God, you're right. That's so cool. Thank you, Hannah." My name in Israel is Hannah. Yeah, so Isaac was an agriculturalist. If you look at the Bible and go back and check, he's the one that starts planting grain, and because now they've got, okay, now we can wheel, Dad. Okay, Dad, we can wheel and deal now. We can start growing some grain out here in the Negev. Because prior to that, what he would do is he would trade. He would trade pelts and sheep meat, etc., and then he would get grain, and then Sarah would. They talk about him trading. So now his son is actually growing the grains. Can we get anything to grow out here? And olives, grain, etc. So it was a really delicious life. It was really a delicious life. Think about it. I mean, they had lamb, they had olives, they had pita, right? And then they probably grew some other things as well mentioned in the Bible. They did some birding, right? They ate birds. There's a lot of birding, like sacrificing of doves. So they probably had nets to catch dove and birds. So they were eating really, really well. They also had beekeeping. Beekeeping has gone on for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Something like 4,000 or 5,000 years, people have been keeping bees to help their crops, but also that they can enjoy honey. And then they had dairy, of course. So these folks were eating really well. But yeah, so Isaac is the first in the family to become an agriculturalist. And what about Ishmael, the eldest from Hagar, right? The family starts to have problems, right? Abraham's kids start picking fights over the well, over the land. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to you? What's going to happen? Right? This is how it all gets started, right? And this is where ground zero is. This is where little Hannah Sarah Whimsy is going back to, right? Whimsy, what are you going back to? Because this is where the problem started, and this is where we need to fix it. We share. We all are Abraham's children, and we are supposed to share. Now, what's interesting is that Ishmael, I know, isn't this interesting? I know you guys love this stuff. Well, it's Sunday. We can all talk about this stuff. It's a Sunday conversation. Bees are so important, aren't they? Land of milk and honey, right? Because the bees the wildflowers in that part of the world produce a lot of honeybees, right? Now, Ishmael gets cast out. What happens to Ishmael, right? He's off with Hagar and they get kicked out into the Negev. And where do they go? Well, the Torah tells us where he went. Anybody take a wild guess? Where does he go? He becomes a hunter and a gatherer, right? So we know that hunting and gathering are a viable income source. And in fact, the Torah says he went into the forest and he started gathering pelts. And at that time, people still made a good living that way. So what the Torah is telling us is that hunting and gathering was still an economy at that time, but it was dying out. More and more land was being used for agriculture and pastoralism. No, he heads southeast. Ishmael and his family heads southeast. Why does he head southeast? Fighting, right? He's fighting with his brothers. He's fighting with his cousins. He's fighting with his, right? So he gets out of Dodge and he settles where? His ancestors settle in an area not too far from Riyadh, and it's called dun, 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 Saudi Arabia, Mecca, right? Which is the birthplace of Islam, right? Islam, peace. So they bring the teachings of their great, great, great grandfather, all about peace and the tent of peace, to Saudi Arabia, which comes the birth of Islam. And they talk about being the descendants of their father, Abraham, who taught it to them, right? So then what happens? They start fighting over the well. So that's the story of Oasis One, and that's the remedy. You know, that is why now Israel's like, well, how do we fix it? Because we've been fighting about us kids. We've been fighting like the Hatfields and McCoys about that damn well, right? Are we right to be angry? Yes. Are we right not to share? No, we aren't. Why aren't we? What? Because Abraham, our grandfather, we all have the same grandfather, would be very, very disappointed in his kids. That's what I think. I think he'd be very, very disappointed in his children that we are acting like this. It's embarrassing. Because he was a loving man. He had a four-cornered tent so that everybody could eat. That was his vision of Zionism. Zionism wasn't supposed to be about killing each other, killing babies, or anything ridiculous like that. It was about this. Look at all of his grandkids. Look at how many. He said, my children will be as vast as the stars. Look at how many kids he had. He bought a lot of land. There's room for them. Like we could build kibbutz, and you know that we could house 1.7 million Gazans right now in the Negev. And I'm not talking about Kushner's plan. I'm talking about Abraham's plan. Abraham, the first Jewish person. Kibbutzim. There's room. There's room for my kids. You don't have to fight like this. I want my kids to come home, live in the land, be good. Come on, stop this whole Ishmael. This whole fighting between Ishmael and Isaac. They got to go move over to Saudi to keep you guys from beating each other up. It's enough already. It's time to come home, heal our family. He's my grandfather too. That's the attitude. And we got to work it out. And we will, because we have figured out that the answer is in the Torah. It's very easy to do. The IDF can vet you, and if you're a law-abiding person, you want to come home, and that's where your family comes from, and you're probably Jewish anyway. Half these people are Jewish. They assimilated when the Turks came in and conquered. There's no reason. A lot of them are Jewish. So we're actually beating up other Jewish people. This is how absurd the entire thing is. And it's completely not necessary. We just have to start vetting and bringing people home. We have so much space. I did the calculations. You know how long it would take us to take every Gazan? That's not a criminal. I'm not talking about terrorists. I'm an Israeli. You think I want terrorists coming in? No, the terrorists have to go bye-bye. They've made life hell. They only have 35% support in Gaza. You know who the 35% are? The people that are getting paid by the terrorist with Qatar money. No, the people don't want them. The people that were not involved in October, that just want to grow olives, welcome home. Come on back. There's your land. Everybody gets one plot. Everybody gets an acre. If you had a family of 4, that's like 4 acres. You could do... But if you're living on kibbutz, everybody shares. People used to think I was crazy. People used to think I was crazy when I said this. And now they're actually considering it. Well, one of the plots is going to be in North Sinai because El-Sisi realized it was a $40 billion industry. Kibbutzes make a lot of money. These are not criminals. They're just people who unfortunately live in Gaza. And you would be doubling their land space, which would also be great. But Sisi's talking about giving 500,000 land. He says it's temporary. It's not going to be temporary. We're going to build a kibbutz. So that's 500,000 people. I worked out the math because I sent suggestions. Everybody can send suggestions to Israel, but 450 square kilometers could house 1.7 million people. Yeah. And we worked out, they're taking it seriously. We can't wait for other people to do the right thing. We have to do the right thing. We have to do it. We can't wait for salvation. We have to be the salvation. This is crazy whimsy. You expect, yes. That is exactly what, but they're terrible. You know what? You know how you make somebody love Israel? By making them an investor, right? How do you create a Zionist? By making someone an investor in Zionism. If that person has 3 acres, 4 acres from the Zionist state, they're going to be working their ass off to make sure the Zionist state survives, right? So that within 10 years, Hamas would collect, less than 10 years. Do you know that based on the data from this study, this is the one that I gave, I'm allowed to show this because, it's not a secret or anything. This is the kibbutz model for the Knesset. I sent 2 days ago that we could have a kibbutz in the Negev. They're actually thinking about doing this because we don't want to see kids dying in a war. Get them out of there. We could move with 100 buses a day, or how many buses they worked out a day. We could get them on kibbutz in like 3 weeks. We have, this is the executive summary. You take them to the Negev. We set up a makeshift kibbutz. We would reduce terrorism by 95%. Nobody would join. Why would you join a terrorist group when you have a beautiful olive farm in the Negev? It doesn't make any sense. 90 to 95% reduction in terrorism, and also it would allow Palestinians that are living abroad to come home. If you just want to come home after the Nakba, I just want to fricking go home. Okay, fine. So apply for Oasis, live in Oasis, serve as a resident, volunteer, and then apply for citizenship and come back. Create open ways where we can all come home. Everybody wants to come home. 1.9 million Gazans could be absorbed. Mm-hmm. And with IDF vetting, it would reduce the number of deaths on both sides. So it would actually be safer for Israel. So if we put emotion aside and did this, it would be safer for us long term. We would see less deaths. It would save 6,000 to 12,000 Gazan lives immediately, and 240 to 640 Israeli lives annually. Even if we did a temporary location of 1.7 million to stay at an integrated kibbutz, and then gave them the option, okay, you guys can go back to Gaza, it's cleared. Who here wants to stay permanently? Based on the data we have, 500,000 would want to stay. And then 1 to 1.2 million could return to Gaza for the rebuild. Yeah, this is all the data. I gave everything to the Knesset a couple days ago. It would produce in a couple of years 130 to 150 new Zionists, because people would no longer be fighting the state of Israel, because the state of Israel would be giving them what they had asked for originally. Conflict would be resolved, which would only strengthen the state. The concept being unify or die. We must come together as one tribe to build a humane society. And here we have addressing of jobs. Yeah, it would take us 3 weeks to absorb everybody with a 95% terrorism reduction. And this data was independently verified through supercomputers. Yeah. Wouldn't even be able to cost us that much, because if you engage shareholders, stakeholders, if you got an investment from the kibbutzes from UAE, Saudi Arabia, etc., wouldn't even cost that much. By 2045, 40,000 to 80,000 Gazan lives would be saved, and thousands of Israelis. Unify now or risk a fractured future. Yeah. Yep. So this is where it all went down. It seems so humble, right? It seems so humble to have this huge fight. It's like, and that's where whimsy is headed. Yeah. I could not figure out where's home. Maybe I should move to Spain. Maybe I should move here. Maybe I should move there. And for the last couple of years, you guys know I've been working on Oasis One, the proposal to get everybody to come home. You'd think that I would have figured it out, right? That I was one of the people that need to go home, right? That I need to go to the Negev to volunteer on kibbutz. The Israelis are very funny. Like when I've had Israelis and Palestinians argue about Oasis One, because both Palestinians and Israelis like Oasis One. And so they start to joke around about when we get to Oasis, like, oh, you want to send me to the Negev, yeah, but I'm in the kibbutz too. I'm also going to the Negev. It's like, oh, so it's good enough for the Jewish people, but it's not good enough for you, the kibbutz. Like it's like joking, because we're going to live there together. It's not going to be like one group. It's everybody. We're sharing. All right. So I would love to do the empath's prayer. Hi, Joel. Joel is our floor director. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to him. If you'd like to make a donation, we are raising money for the Children's Defense Fund. I think we've already raised a little bit of money. I'm having a bit of a cat reaction, not as bad as yesterday, but. And if you need to receive a healing at this time, if you need to be prayed for, please give us your name and we will include you in our community prayers. Yeah, it doesn't have to be hard. I mean, Abraham, the first Jewish person, he wasn't acting like that. He had just had a tent with 4 doors. He had a tent with 4 doors, and he was such a loving man, our grandfather, that he would get depressed if he had no one to love. Think about that. If he had no one to feed, if he had no one to take care of. And so he would sit outside of his tent looking out the Negev for strangers that needed water, for strangers that needed something to eat. And yeah, so that became, let me see if I can show, did I show you guys a picture of, oh, there's the IDF folder. That's convenient. So his tent, Abraham's tent in the desert, he and his wife Sarah, they constructed it so that it would have 4 doors. So this is what it looked like. This is the model for the Oasis One. Yeah, everybody thinks I'm doing something revolutionary and I'm just following the Quran and the Torah. It's all in the Quran. It's all in the Torah. We're just doing what the Torah tells us to do. But this is what his tent would look like, right? So there's the 4 doors, and this is the kibbutz. And so he was the first kibbutznik. And then his children would just enter through one of those doors. This is the Negev in the background, right? Or, you've got Gaza on one side, you've got Abraham on the other. You've got Ibrahim over here, if you say it like this Saudi way, or if you say it the Hebrew way, Abraham. But if you enter from the Israeli side or whether you enter from the Gaza side, it doesn't really matter, because in the end, everybody's in Abraham's tent. Yeah. And this is mystical from a Kabbalistic perspective, because this is also the tefillin that we pray with when we lay our tefillin, the prayer scrolls, which is a circle within a box, which is chesed and gevurah in Hebrew. So the circle has to do with the kindness of Abraham's tent, which is open and receptive to all with 4 doors. And the square is the perimeter for security, because you know, and it goes back to the book that we're recommending this month. We do have a book of the month club, which is called The Wavelength. So like, if you want to get on the wavelength of Abraham Avinu, which was love, 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 love. All you need is love. He was this hippie. Look at this amazing. I mean, the original frickin' rocks are there on the bottom, and you can see the new rocks are added, but he was on the vibe, right? Love, 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 with his 4-cornered tent. But he also understood the importance for boundaries, equality, and being able to protect ourselves, which is why you always have to have a secure border, right? You can't have it just be open and free. Have you guys ever seen the inside of a tefillin? The inside of the tefillin is Gevurah and Chesed. It's basically Abraham's tent. It's pretty crazy, because somebody reconstructed the tent inside the tefillin. Isn't that insane? This is the tefillin that we lay. Here's the outside box, the boundary, and then the circle on the inside is Abraham's tent. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane? Abraham's tent, and then the Gevurah, Hesed, Vechesed. Absolutely crazy. Like, how did they figure all this stuff out back then? Like, how did they figure it out? This was like thousands and thousands. There it is. You see? There's his tent. Here's the 4 corners. You see? So what are we doing every day? We're trying to connect to salam, the tent. Meanwhile, we're beating each other up like idiots. There it is. There's the structure. Isn't that mind-blowing? Doesn't that just blow your mind? There's the structure. Is that not insane? A rabbi pointed that out. I didn't know. No, I'm not. Oh, Whimsy, you're such a... No, a rabbi taught. No, the rabbi that taught it to me was a genius. I was simply somebody in school that it's a circle within a square. Chesed v'gevurah. And from a vibrational perspective in the Kabbalah, Abraham is chesed, kindness, and boundaries. We better protect this area and put up some security is Gevurah, and that was Isaac. Isaac had to put up security also, because he had grain. He started hiring people and farmers, and then all of a sudden it became wealthy. And then they started attracting war, which is the whole point of what Abraham was trying to get away from when he left. Iraq, he was trying to get away from all that crazy. So yeah, that's the magic sauce that the Jewish people had, that the Muslims have as children of Abraham. And we got to go back to the magic sauce, right? This is and she falls upon it too. The same exact magic sauce. Love, but boundaries. She'll be in our studio on the 25th, this Tuesday, if you want to join us, 6 p.m. Taco Tuesday. Okay, let's go ahead. We'll do the empath prayer. We'll do a collective reading, and then after that, we will do some blitzes. Does that work for you guys? Yeah, it's crazy. I know. Like, it's an actual structure. And it's like so simple. Like, when I did the mathematics, because I was studying the Torah, and I was like, well, what if we actually did this? Like, what if we actually went there and constructed it? Like, what if we went to the actual spot and did exactly what Abraham told us to do, our grandfather? Like, what if we actually did it exactly like he says to do it? You would see a reduction in terrorism by 95. But that's insane, to let all the Palestinians come back. Yes, and you would see a reduction in terrorism of 95%. Furthermore, these new Israeli Palestinians who come in will bring in a whopping extra $40 billion a year in profits within the first. It's like, what? It's like, peace is so much more profitable than war. We can do this. We can do this. Oh, you don't know what? I'm an Israeli, honey. I've been in terrorist attacks 2 or 3 times. I've been in a terrorist. I used to live on the West Bank. All right. I lived on the West Bank for 5.5 years. You can't do that with me, right? We can do this. This is doable and it's easy. Isn't that great? We can fix this. We can fix this. All right. Let's bring it in. Let's do the empath's prayer. Time to go home. Welcome Abraham's children home. I don't care if you're proud. I don't care if you're one of his kids. You're welcome back. Just don't be a terrorist. Just be willing to be a farmer. Be somebody who's willing to work the land and love Gaia and love your children. And then we will. You're coming home. We're going to make this happen. You're coming home. If you're a Palestinian, you want to come home and you're willing to live in the land and grudgingly support it, they will work with you. If you're willing to shake hands and make up, this is going to happen. You're coming home. All right, let's do this. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. And for those of you who requested a healing at this time, we pray for you and those you love together. In whatever language or faith works for you, we come collectively together and we call on Higher Spirit to give you the perfect healing that you and those you love need, both in mind, body, and in spirit. And together, collectively, again, we say, Amen, amen, amen. May all souls be healed. All right, let's give you a collective. You having good time out there? What you eating? What you drinking? Where you coming from? Thank you for joining our party. We're glad to see you. All right, this is what we need to know for this week. If you'd like to know more about the Oasis One project, bringing people home, you can check out my blog on the Times of Israel, and you can find out, or you can just Google Oasis One, Dr. Whimsy Anderson, Toward a New Vision of Gaza. My articles are all over the place, and you too can be part of the change. We don't have to scream and yell in the streets and protest. We just need to love each other, feed each other, and respectfully ask the state of Israel to give us the land. And we will be good little Zionist in the new Zionism, which is more inclusive and less violent. We can do that. We can do this, right? All right, where you are in the next couple of weeks. I don't think I would be a good, like I have fantasies where I think about myself on Oasis if I can get a plot, like I think I'm going to marry some Bedouin guy who loves me, but he thinks I'm crazy. And I'm going to be the person that, like, what can I give Oasis, like, in order to, like, request a seat in Oasis? And I've decided that what I can give Oasis is that I would like to set up the karaoke. People will, like, be driving out in the desert and they're like, this is that Oasis. Let's stop for dinner. And they'll come into some seedy bar in the Oasis and I'll be there. Busted flat in Baton Rouge. I don't know how I wound up in the Negev. I'll just be singing my karaoke. That's what I want to. That's how I think my life's going to end. I'm just going to be I'm going to be married to some beautiful Bedouin man, and I'm going to be living in a tent, and we're going to be doing karaoke out in the Negev, we solved the Middle East crisis, and then we're just doing karaoke in the Negev. That's how I think the story is going to end. All right. Does that work for you? It works for me. Things are happening really, really rapidly. Remember, we said that this is not sustainable. I don't know how it's going to end with Trump. I don't know what tomorrow brings. I do not know how long he will be in office. All I can tell you is that April is coming, and April is crazy for all of us. Base card is 8 of Wands. That's rapid, strife, crazy. It's things happening. Keep your wits about you. You've got the Hierophant standing as the base of the matter. So that would be a suggestion to try and, yeah, I'm breathing better. I had to put her down. Like, not put her down, but I mean, I'm fine as long as I don't touch her. I have to wash her. So yeah, just keep yourself close to your spirituality. Hierophant is about trying to be close to God or spirituality, because the world is getting crazy right now. Judgment is strong. I feel like your judgment is strong, and judgment in the first house would indicate that any decisions you're making, you're not going to lose your head. Like, they're talking about you keep yourself in a good meditative state. The Bedouin are beautiful. I'm very attracted to Bedouin culture, and the men are very good looking and very, very generous. Yes, they're gift givers. Every time I go to visit Bedouins, I'm loaded down with gifts. They just keep giving me stuff. They keep feeding me, and then I wind up with clothes, and it's yeah, it's nice. All right, crossing card, the World. Nice. You've got 3 out of 4 major arcana. So I think the World is saying judgment, sane the world. I think it's quite auspicious. I don't think that Elon Musk is going to win. I don't think that this thing that's coming out that he's going to make billions of dollars off tax cuts that he can put towards his rockets, which is the real reason that people are doing this, right? But yeah, so that's what happens. And you just have this great energy coming out of the world where the world is together. We know what we are not. Also, the Hierophant from a government perspective is the Constitution. It's the higher ethos. So I would say things are doing really well. We're really getting ourselves together. You know what? Last night I watched a movie. My sister got me the best gift. My sister took me to lunch yesterday. I was away for a couple of days because I was having my birthday stuff. But my sister took me to lunch yesterday, and my sister bought me, which I really, really wanted. I know it seems like a bizarre thing to want, but we went to the bookstores and stuff, and she got me a 1,000-piece puzzle. Do you guys like those puzzles? They're addictive. I watch the news and stuff, and I'm obsessed with this puzzle. I just find nothing is more delightful to me than to just sit and watch a good movie, have a cup of tea, and something I'm enjoying, and doing one of these puzzles, jigsaw puzzle. So the Queen of Cups comes to you in the third house, and it's that kind of energy. It's this energy of being in your creative juices, being in your heart, and do not fear so much. Linda G, I love that girl. She's right when she says, it all gets worked out in the wash. Just take care of yourselves. The Constitution holds. The world is getting it together. You're incredibly creative people. Some of the most creative people in the world come on to this show. Look at that Empress moving in. And time of April, 4th month. Get back into life. Like last night when I decided to watch Conclave, right? Conclave was a really good movie. Yeah. Yeah. And the right guy gets picked as the Pope. Or we shouldn't say that. But, they have to decide a Pope. And you're always hoping that the right person gets picked as a Pope. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Anyway, so that's what I was doing last night. I got back into my life. And that's what I would say for you. Get back into your life. Yeah, get back into your creativity. I just had a lovely evening not freaking out about Trump. And I realized that we're just being manipulated because they want you to watch their channel. And so every 5 seconds, there's another emergency. There's another emergency. Turn on MSNBC. Meanwhile, the rest of the world, they're just like, they're growing their olives. Justice is coming in the 7th house. You guys don't worry. Justice is coming to the world. I'm telling you. This will right itself. The opposition at this time, scholarship. Yeah, so I'm not worried. The presidency, I'm so glad this is happening. But it looks like this kind of global movement to take over and take control over everything. And there's a warning that in the next couple weeks, it's going to get worse rather than better. In the sense that all hell's going to break loose. And they're warning you, 5 of Pentacles is your outcome, that you've got to let this go and because it's dragging you down. It will pass. Every horrible thing that you find out about is going to pass. It's going to pass. This too shall pass. And the Democrats will get back in and sanity will reign. And they've already, it's nearly impossible that the Republicans can save the House. They're in so much trouble. Something like 63% are planning on there's a 63% chance they're going to lose the House, like in a very short amount of time. This is all, it's all coming to an end. It's been one horrible disaster, and it's coming to an end. It's like what we talked about, that there is no future for Russia under Putin because it's not sustainable. Nobody wanted NATO to march on Moscow. Nobody wanted that. Do you know how many times when I would go into remotes and see it ends, we have no choice, we go in. I so wanted it to be different, but when you have a psychopath like that, you have no choice. The world has no choice, just like the world had no choice with Iran, which is now we're seeing the end of the Iranian leadership. You know, there gets to be a point where the world stands up and says, this is not sustainable. And that is what's happening with Trump and Elon Musk. And that is why you should get on with your life. 5 of Pentacles is to be drugged down by the broken, locked out of the church, poverty. Dr. Whimsy, you gave me a poster of the word bronze in a dream. Oh, I know why. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. Is Debbie Brady here? Is Debbie Brady here? Is Debbie Brady around? Debbie Brady and I were working on my skin tone, and something that was going to bring out the pink and make me younger. And we were matching palettes. So I was sending her palettes. She's a creative director. She runs she did the creative design for the show. I wanted something that was like this is a ship's captain's. This is actually a remake of a ship's captain's underwater. I think this is the original. Isn't this crazy? Look, there's a little tiny openings. But this was the ship's captain's deck. But when we matched, it matches as it's the opposite of my skin tone. And so what it does is it brings out the pink in my skin, even though you can see I've still got some spots. I've got a few spots from aging. But, oh, hi, Debbie. Debbie's here. So I was like, what is it? Bronze, right, Debbie? And she's like, I don't know. Like, we couldn't remember what the name was. Is it bronze? But we knew, we kept trying different things. And then Debbie's like, I really like that. I'm like, what is that? And then we matched it. It was like bronze. That's what we were looking for, Debbie. We're looking for bronze. And then we both agreed that this was the right. And then I checked it with look at this. It's like a perfect, well, you can see it here. Look at how beautiful my coloring looks against the bronze. Like how young it makes your hands look. So anyway, we couldn't figure it out. But yeah, so Debbie and we went with we tried a couple different colors actually, right, Debbie? Let me see if I can find some of these. But eventually we thought the bronze had the best tone for me. You know, we did silly stuff. This is one of the silly ones we tried early on. But you can see like my spots come out really a lot because it's not a bronze, it's a pink. And if you're this is the kind of thing that a creative director can help you with, is just trying to get a color that's going to work with your face. I mean, I look fine, but you can really see the spots. Whereas when we matched against a bronze, why do I keep doing it this way? When we matched against a bronze, it brought out more of the pink and got rid of the spicy. It makes it more gentle. Isn't that it just dramatic? It's been a while. I'd have to find the palette. How did we do this? I think we were studying key lights. That's right, Debbie? Yeah, and we knew to get rid of the red. The first thing we did is we had to get rid of the red. Yeah, anyway. So if you've got too much red, that was it. You've got too much red and you want to soften the wrinkles, check and see, and you have my skin tone, try bronze. Anyway, we tried multiple ones, and it's like a wine bronze, and it just softens some of what's going on. Yeah, thanks, Debbie. Debbie's amazing. If you need a creative director, if you're a talent and you need a talent management person, check out Debbie. Thanks for texting me the other way, Debbie. I actually wound up with my sister the other day. I wasn't able to get back to you. We had what we always have. People wanted to know what we had. We had plank salmon, cedar plank salmon. I didn't get and I was telling you they have it with like au gratin, but this time they didn't have it with au gratin. They had it with smoked wheat, and they made it like a smoked wheat, and then asparagus cream lemon on top of that. Oh, with wild forest mushrooms. Yeah, that was my birthday lunch. And then we went to a bookstore, and then she bought me my puzzle 1,000 because she knows I love those things. I'm like, she's like, you sure this is what you want for your birthday at 62? I'm like, yeah, I want it. So you guys want to? It's really pretty. It's a woman with her dog playing. This is what I did all yesterday. Like all yesterday night. I just like them. You know, she's like, it's your birthday. You can have whatever you want. That's what you want. And that's like, yes, that's what I really want. She thought I was like faking it. Isn't this great? It's look how complicated it is. It would drive you crazy, right? But the way to do it is you've got to look at the colors. So I've gotten so into it. I watched Conclave last night, and I just love it. Isn't that great? It's a Rebecca, do not disturb. It's the person just totally sunk into their book. You can't even see them. The cat's trying to get there. This is me. This is totally me. When I saw this, I was like, I really want this. I really, really want this. So I've done the bottom. The bottom is done. I've done part of this side, and I've done part of this side, and I've done part of the top. Yeah, I'm starting to fill in the white. It's pretty easy because a lot of pieces are just pure white. So it's pretty easy to start this bottom area. Yeah, so that was my birthday present. I think my sister felt like I was a poor little kid. That's all you want. So I was having a very nice cup of tea last night, and sitting there having tea and watching Conclave, which is a brilliant film, and putting them together. And I took a moment saying, this is what life is about. I am truly loving this moment. This is the creme de la creme. Yeah, we're running. I came on late today. We'll run late today. All right, let's blitz away. If anybody, spirit card. Yeah, I can do one. Your spirit card for the week. Yeah, they're just saying, be careful about being drugged down by other people's stuff. You'll be fine. And that sanity reigns in the next couple weeks. Your energy is called to shapeshift. Shapeshift is also called homeostasis or allostasis, the ability to return back to center. You know, shapeshift, go with the flow. If everybody's crazy, then you just go crazy too. You know, like it's go with the flow, and okay, stay in the periphery. Don't pick fights. Go with the flow. Be about your business. And shapeshifting is about, people who are easily offended are not going to be just. I used to be like that, but now I would just move on. Whatever. Don't let yourself be offended. Just get on with your life. Though my sister and I are going to be going, there's a big protest march on April 5th. Does anybody know when the protest march is? There's a big I know my sister and I are going. Let's see, when is the march gonna be? It's probably gonna be the 5th or the 6th, Saturday or Sunday, in every major state. It's probably Act Blue that's organizing it, just to let you guys know. I'm just a shout out if you guys want to be part of the marches. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you're going to be there too. I'll be at the march here in Portland if you guys want to look for me, if you want to march with me. It's always nice to march with friends. And never go with anyone you don't know. We've had some situations happening where people have been abducted, hanged. There was some Black Lives Matters people that were lured, right? We had a couple people lynched. So one woman was sexually assaulted and murdered. So the other big rule is I always tell when we go to these marches, leave with the same people you came with. And if you are an activist organizing, always make sure to count your people before and after. I mean, unfortunately, we live in a sick world, and yeah. All right. Well, the Joint Chiefs of Staff arrest Trump. Boy, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's take a look. Yeah, that one woman escaped. She was lured, and then she escaped, and then she ran back to her house. She called her cops or whatever, and they actually didn't they find her, and then they killed her after they had attacked her. She escaped. It was terrible. More than one activist has gotten lured. We just don't think, I think the other thing is as liberals and Democrats, we're just really trusting. So if you see other people at a march and you're like a mile from where you started and a bunch of people start, hey, where are you coming from? Oh, we're from there. Hey, we can give you a lift. Where are you headed? You don't think, you just get into the, oh, thanks a lot. You don't think you're about to be abducted. And then unfortunately, that's what's happened. All right. So issues regarding whether or not the chief of staff will act against Trump, the answer is likely yes. The answer is yes, because we've got feeling constricted at this time, but the dissent is growing very rapidly. The hope and fear, kumbaya, and then the final outcome is you get your wish. So he's not what he was. There it is, the presidency. Courts coming in. He's not a functional president. Like, why were we surprised? You know, Knight of Cups. The offer of resigning. This happened last time. Remember? The duty has fallen on me to inform you that we have reached a consensus in the Senate. We give you the honor of resigning. Are we back there again? Oh, that didn't happen. You were wrong, Dr. Anderson. Here he is, the president again. And where are we headed? Lindsey Graham, Mr. President, the duty has fallen upon me to inform you that we have reached a consensus in the Senate. We give you the honor of resigning. That was the vision. If it continues on this trajectory, they will have no choice but to remove him. It's not sustainable. They did everything in their power not to remove him, and he literally tried to burn the Capitol to the ground. So it always winds up like that, right? It always winds up where thank you, John, for the donation. It always winds up with them having to have that little conversation. And then people come in and rescue him, and the conversation doesn't happen. And, it's like the fall of Putin. Well, maybe we can work with him. No, we can't. The fall is inevitable. The march on Moscow is inevitable. But you said yes. And here we are. It's not sustainable. It's sustainable in the sense that they're dragging it out and Russia is bankrupted and there's over 1 million dead. But I'm mean, they've just seized Belgrade. I mean, Ukraine. I can't see this continuing. I mean, it's like with what money? Putin doesn't have any money left. All right, Trump, Ukraine war will end by Easter. He's delusional. Fighting rages, 501s. He doesn't want to give up his territory. The opposition, the world, nobody supports him right now. The hope and the fear at this time, confusion. You know what? He got nothing. He cannot, Six of Cups, armistice, you're right. Because Zelensky is a man of peace. 200,000 children kidnapped, molested, and it's like, how could you do a deal with such a person? I think that I would continue doing what Ukraine is doing, try and take as much land as possible. Mm-hmm. All right, this has come up quite a bit. People are concerned a little bit about what's going on with the IRS or legalized tax fraud by the rich, as Joel likes to say. We're going to just take a look at the firings and everything else that's going on with the IRS. It's just absolutely insane. We are blitzing away. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe and like, please do so. We would really appreciate it. The tax, Two of Pentacles. What is Two of Pentacles? It's the flim flam man. It's the con artist. Oh my God. They're such horrible people. They don't think that they should have to pay their taxes. Six of Cups. God, they're trying to make nice with rich people so that they don't get fired. Final outcome, they're going to gut the IRS. Ten of Swords. So how do we pay our taxes if we don't have an IRS? Oh, I want to pay my taxes. That's the other thing about being a law-abiding citizen. Yes, I want to pay my taxes, and I want my taxes to go to the Department of Education and to welfare programs for mothers to feed their children. And in fact, I'd like them to get more money, so you can go ahead and tax me more. What I don't want the money to go for is it's maintaining nuclear weapons that are outdated. I don't think Americans are having a problem with paying taxes. We want to contribute to the state. What we're having a problem with is the direction the state is headed, right? I think I speak for most of us, right? We don't want to lose our entitlement programs because we're entitled to them. That's why we pay taxes. Ten of Swords, we will be betrayed. It just... Red tape. This is total IRS imagery. Red tape, right? Opposition, the family legacy, hopes and fears. I'm not feeling good about this. They're doing serious damage. They're doing serious damage to, even of all the agencies that they have done the most damage to with these types of cards, Ten of Swords and Queen of Cups, she spins out emotional. I think it's going to be real hard for us to rip. I don't know how you would be able to do. They're going to make it very difficult to do an audit. Yeah. I mean, something like 80-something% of Americans don't have a problem. They're not upset at the IRS. We're not upset about, Americans are not upset about paying. That's not what the issue is for Americans. It's about where the money is going, and it's about the fact that it's not that everybody is not paying their fair share. It's not that we don't want to pay our taxes. It's the rich people that are saying they don't want to pay our taxes. The rest of us, we just want the money that we pay to go to the things that we're supposed to pay. I'll be honest with you, of everything I've seen so far, I think the IRS is going to have some real hard problems coming back from that. Ten of Swords is they're going to be gutted. Worse than any other agency. I mean, they don't want to pay their taxes, so they're just going to literally destroy the American government. Yay, and then we won't have to pay taxes. It's fruitcakes, right? All right, so we'll do one more, and I think we'll cut it. Oh, sedatives for the cat. I know, but it's so far away. Saudis, no, they are not. They're Muslim, which is Ishmael. Ishmael, and so their land is Saudi Arabia. But many Palestinians are Jewish, and they converted to Islam under Turkish rule. So when we do DNA tests, a lot of Palestinians came out that they were just fellow Jewish people that uh, they became Muslim because Islam, well, the Saudis conquered, I think, when they invaded in the 8th and 9th century, something like that. And then you also had the Turks invading under the Ottomans. So people changed. You had people coming in from Iraq. But Ishmael's land is not Israel. Ishmael didn't get Israel. He inherited everything else. Like he gets Saudi Arabia. Ishmael did very well for himself. Most Saudis are cool with the deal. If you ask this average Saudi Arabian, they'll say, "Oh, that's the land of the Jews, and this is our land." And it's like, we're cool. But it's with the Palestinians, it's a different situation because many of them are in fact Jewish. And there's a 70 to 90% genetic correlation, and that just had to do with assimilation. It was Judea and Samaria, and then they became Muslim or Christian or something else. I mean, we were conquered by Rome, the Byzantines, Turkey, Ottomans, and so people just assimilated. Yeah, so that's what happened. So we're just, but the solution is actually not that hard. It's just it's revolutionary. You want to take 2 something million, including Palestinians that are living abroad, and give them a bunch of land. Yeah, come on back. But it could cause a complete collapse. No, research shows that actually Israel would be stronger and Palestinians would become strong pro-Israel, and like they would just become part of the government, part of the population, because that's how democracy works. You know, when you have, this is what they said about the Italians in the 1920s. Remember that? Are you hearing about that? Don't let those Dagos come in, right? They're going to destroy everything, right? Don't let the Irish in, right? But then when in a democracy, when people are inclusive and you give them an investment in the state, people become patriotic. It's just the way tribes are. It's something that we look, as anthropologists, we look at tribal division. And tribal division is usually when people feel it's unfair, that what is meted out is unfair. So the solution is to go back to the original formula, the original sauce, which is Avraham Avinu, which is Abraham, which is that you just, well, he built a kibbutz. I mean, basically what he's describing, a four-cornered tent. I mean, this is basically, communal living where all of his children, his dream was that all of his children were going to live together in a big tent and love each other, and that anytime anybody was hungry, they could come to the Negev and meet his wonderful, lovely, lovely children, and we would all share. And instead, we're beating the crap out of each other. It's really, and in many cases, the Palestinians that are beating up us and we're beating up, we're genetically related. In some cases, they're Jewish themselves. So the insanity, that's what we're trying to say. Those of us that are pushing for Oasis One is that, no, it's not going to be a Palestinian state. No, it's not going to be a Jews only state. It's going to be the children's state. It's Gaza. It's Oasis One, right? So, yeah, exactly. The Irish, and yet now we never think about it. We never think in these terms. And yet there was a time when people wouldn't even think of the Irish as being capable of being American citizens, let alone serving in the army. You're going to let an Irishman serve? They thought that they thought you could not give a gun to an Irishman. He's going to take it and shoot everybody, right? The English and the Irish. And this was a bunch of Protestants came out and created America, right? You're going to give an Irishman a gun? Are you crazy, right? This is something that actually got discussed. Okay, we're going to have the Irish in the canteens. You guys can Peel potatoes. Up until World War II, there were jokes in the movies about the Irish being, have them cook, be the cooks, but don't give them a gun. I mean, can you believe this? We're talking about our grandparents' generation. Avraham is the Hebrew. Ibrahim is the Islamic. Abraham is the American pronunciation. Oh, cousin of mine, Rainey Horvat. I think we're related. Abraham's name was changed to Avraham, probably because he moved to a country where the language was different, and they could have been that the locals started calling him Avraham because of the dialect, and his attitude was, okay, now I'm Avraham. I'll go with the flow. Now we're speaking Hebrew. Okay. They speak the dialect Hebrew out here. We're okay. I was Abraham. Now I'm Abraham. Okay. They can't pronounce my name. So I changed it. It could have been something as easy as that. But yeah, that's the original formula. And that's what we're going back to. All right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me. Yeah, we don't need to be this. Absolutely. It's insane. Well, I think we found the missings. I think we found the secret sauce, and I think we're going to do it. All right. Thank you, everyone, my beautiful spirits. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find all the information in the channel descriptions. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. And we will see you all next time. Bye, everyone. Yeah, that's because Rome conquered Judea, and that's why you have the Jewish DNA if you're Italian. Yeah, in answer to that question. Yeah. All right. Bye, you guys. Bye. Love you guys.